What's up, ladies and gentlemen, it's Hayden from the Pop Culture Gamers podcast here, and today we've got another video. This time we're looking at the Evercade Game of the Month for September 2023. So if you want to get this game, what you need to do is actually to update your latest version of your firmware, and then that will update on your EXP or BS so that you can download the latest game, which is Marrow. You can enjoy the full version of the game without limits for a month, at which point it will be replaced by a brand new game. In February 2024, this will appear as one of the Game of the Month titles from 2023 and will be collected in the Indie Heroes 3 cartridge, together with a few cartridge exclusive games to sweeten the deal even further, and you'll be able to add them to your Evercade library permanently. If you've never heard of Bone Marrow before, this is a puzzle game which was originally developed in a retro style for modern platforms by Huge Pixel before being ported to a real classic 16-bit system by PSCD Games. If that sounds familiar, it's pretty much the same thing as what happened with Thunderpaw, and that game was originally released for modern platforms, then got an authentic modern retro classic port by PSCD. In terms of the game, in Bone Marrow, the year is 780 and the bloody moon has fallen. This naturally has led to all creatures that lurked in the deepest, darkest corners of the earth to wake up and to fill our lands with slobbering unpleasantness. The time is, of course, ripe for a hero to make a stand, battle against the forces of darkness and protect the world from evil. When you start Bone Marrow, you can pick between 3 different heroes. They all start with the same stats, so pick the one that you like the look of most, or the one you enjoy hearing the gothic voiceover announced the most. After that, you pick a stage to play. Only the yard will be available at first unless you enter a password from the main menu, and then it's to action. While Bone Marrow might initially look like a strategic role-playing game, it's a pure puzzle game at heart. You use the D-pad to push up, down, left or right, and you'll slide everything on the board in that direction until it hits something. Each move you make will cause a new piece to spawn on the board, so plan your moves carefully so the board doesn't fill up. While this might look like the typical sort of 5x5 grid games that we see in the past where you match up the numbers, this has an extra layer of complexity because you've also got to match up the symbols, those being food, swords or shields, and every time you match them up you have to get the right numbers as well. So a 2 and a 2 sword will make a 4 sword, and then you get 2 more 2 swords to make another 4 sword, and then join them all together to make an 8 sword, and so on and so forth. After the tutorial, the game's time mechanic will start gradually cycling through the day and night cycles on each passing turn. During the night you will simply have to concentrate on making as many matches as you possibly can to clear a bit of space on the board and power your pieces up, but during the day things get interesting. During the day, the piece on the board that represents your hero is able to collect the pieces moving around them. This will affect their status. Collecting swords will increase the attack power, shields will increase the defensive, and food will increase your hit points. You can also gain experience by fighting enemies such as snakes and other creatures during the game, and then there is always the end of level boss as well, which is harder to attack. Your aim in each stage of Bone Marrow is to survive as long as you can so that you will unlock later stages. Think carefully before you move and do your best to keep your hero fighting as fit as possible at all times. This really isn't a bad game. I've quite enjoyed playing this. I've played it for a couple of hours, and it is definitely one of the better indie hero games. In a matter of fact, this might be one of the reasons why I might consider the Indie Heroes next cartridge that comes out if this game's going to be on there, because there's been 1 or 2 good games in the last few months that have been released as monthly games, so it'll be nice to get them in the collection as well. Okay, that's it for this time. Hope you've enjoyed the video. Don't forget to like our video because it really does help us out, and also to keep afresh of everything else that we're doing on this channel, then also why not click that subscribe button. That's it. Thanks very much, and we'll see you next time. Bye now.